Hey everybody, it's Melissa, and we're talking about a very polarizing fragrance in the fragrance community, and it's Dior Sauvage Elixir. All right, as always, I'll put the discount link for it in the comment section below in case you guys want to get it at a discounted rate. It's an affiliate link, but please buy where you're comfortable. All right, so Dior Sauvage Elixir is a scent that I tried for the very first time about a year ago, and I finished that sample because I was very intrigued with the fragrance because at first I wasn't sure if I liked it, and then I liked it, and then I didn't like it. It just kept going back and forth the whole entire day. All right. And mind you, this sample was probably this tiny. All right. And one spray of that, no, two sprays of that was lasting forever. All right. Now, with the full bottle, I can just imagine doing one spray of that is going to be nuclear. All right. So, one pro of Dior Sauvage Elixir is the fact that performance is insane. If that is what you're looking for, if you are looking for something that will last so long, that's gonna linger when you're doing the laundry and it's gonna be there for like 2 loads, then yeah, that is just such a strong fragrance. And I have to commend Dior for that because performance nuts on that scent. Now, what does it actually smell like? Honestly, just think of how you've smelled Dior Sauvage in the past with all of the other flankers, right? Just think of that smell, but more complex, where there's more sweetness to it. All right, you got some licorice, there's some cinnamon, there's a lot more depth with this fragrance. It's more patchouli, and there's cardamom as well. And cardamom to me is a very sexy note. But yeah, just think of Dior creating basically a niche version of Sauvage, and that is what you get with Elixir. So it is something that I feel when a majority of people go smell this at the mall or wherever, they're going to be blown back by it because it doesn't smell like the typical masculine fragrance at the mall. All right, usually it's ambroxan heavy. Usually it's just like that typical blue, fresh, clean fragrance, right? But with the Elixir, it's a bit sweeter. Not even a bit, it is a much sweeter fragrance. And again, when the average guy is smelling this, they are probably going to be blown away with how unique the smell is, because a lot of people don't know niche fragrances. So when they smell something like this, that's like a niche attempt at a designer fragrance, they're going to be impressed with it. And I have to say that overall, it's nice, right? But I tried it again recently at the mall. And for some reason, I found it to be a bit more lackluster than the first time. But then when I really think about it again, when I really started liking Sauvage Elixir, it was the day after I applied it on my clothes. And that was the crazy part no, not a day after. It was like a couple weeks after, because I sprayed it on my sweater, right? And then maybe the next couple days, because you guys, if you have ever like a house sweater and then you kind of wear it when you're cold and then you just like throw it in the hamper afterwards. Anyways, threw it in the hamper. I ran my laundry, and then when I took that laundry out and I'm folding my clothes and I was going to wear that jacket again, it smelled like Sauvage Elixir, just like faintly. And I was like, oh man, this smells good. I was like, I still smell it. But it was like perfect. You know what I mean? It wasn't super loud, it wasn't obnoxious, it was tamed down, but it was still like high quality, right? And I was like, there's no way this is lasting for this long. So I smelled it, and I used that sweater, put it in the laundry again, and then a couple weeks later, when I did the laundry and smelled that sweater and wore it again, I smelled it again, but more, it was much more subdued, right? And I was like, damn, it's been like 3 to 4 weeks and this thing is still on my clothes. And I liked it. I can't even lie to you. So I think that is what was lacking with the most recent time I tried Sauvage Elixir, was I didn't have that opportunity to smell it like a couple weeks later. But I will say that initial spray of it wasn't something that I really liked. And it was sitting there for like about an hour and still strong, but you have to give it time. You know what I mean? I feel like if you're somebody that knows what a niche fragrance is, if you've tried things like Leighton, Carla, if you've tried like Parfums de Marly, when you try Sauvage Elixir, I think you'll understand it better. But I think that most people that smell like your average day-to-day guys that are looking for that sweet masculine fragrance, I think that they would love Sauvage Elixir. I really think that they would. Now, I did go to the mall recently with a girl, and she honestly wasn't a fan of it. All right, and again, it's with the initial spray of it, but the guys liked it. They were like, oh yeah, like this is nice, right? So it could be the difference of the feminine nose, the masculine nose. But honestly, I think that it's still good. Please don't get me wrong. And look, I know there's so much internet hate when it comes to Dior Sauvage, but I'm really trying to, I don't care about that. I'm not trying to ride waves of what everyone thinks is the move, right? I'm going to give you my honest opinion on it. I still think that it's a great fragrance, especially when it comes to performance, all right? I know that Sauvage is something that people like to dog on. And yeah, it is overused with like the EDT, the EDP. But the Elixir is still a good thing to have in your collection if you're looking for that solid rotation. If you're looking to keep a minimal collection and you're not about getting the niche scents, you just want the designer ones that you're just gonna, you're gonna keep using, you're not looking to expand, I think that it has a solid place in there. All right, if you already have the EDP, do you need to have the Elixir? Personally, I don't think you need both, but you can. I could see where the versatility would come in with having both of them, but I honestly feel like the EDP has enough versatility in it to still be worn during occasions that you would wear the Elixir, because the EDP is the most versatile out of all the Sauvages, in my opinion. If you had to ask me, oh my gosh, I'm looking for my first fragrance and there's nothing I could do to convince you to not get Sauvage, I would say, okay, go with Dior Sauvage EDP, because it's smooth and it's just something that has great performance. Like, this is something that will last over 8 hours, over 10 hours. It just, that ambroxan is present there, and it's not as sharp as the EDT. The EDT can be headache inducing for some people. They find it too peppery, whereas in the EDP it's more smooth, it's more tamed down. In fact, I don't remember the last time I tried the Parfum. Did I try I'm sure that I have, but I guess it didn't really stick out to me. I think the EDP is just it takes that shotgun approach, right? You're gonna get a Sauvage no matter what. All right, which one is gonna get me through the most situations? Then pull for the EDP. But if you're somebody looking to diversify your collection and you want that sweet scent, then go for the Elixir, because it will perform. Or if you're somebody that lives in an area where it's cold a lot, like let's say you live in Germany, right? At least when I went to Germany, it was so cold all the time. It was very gloomy. If you live in an area like that rarely gets sunshine, then I think Elixir would be great. Now, in terms of who I see wearing it, I find it to be more of a mature fragrance. I think that it's something a lot of high school kids are going to be drawn to because it's a Dior and because it's the newest release, and a lot of high school boys love this fragrance. But it's a more grown scent to me, I have to tell you. Like, I see it more on 25 and up. If a 15-year-old were to wear it, it's just like it doesn't really fit. Does that make sense? Like, it's like when like a toddler wears their dad's shoes and everyone's like, oh, he's wearing his dad's shoes, but it's not like, oh wow, he works those shoes. It's not like that, you know what I mean? So I personally don't think a high school student could pull it off. I don't think it's meant for that sort of demographic, but don't shy away from it if you want to try it. But also, wearing that in school is just a big no. I feel like Sauvage Elixir is just more of a nighttime fragrance. If you're going to lounges, you're going to rooftop bars, if you're going to clubs, it would be great for that situation, or any sort of date night. But be very cautious with the sprays, especially if you're going to be in a room with other people besides your date. And even, you know what, hell, for the sake of your date, please don't even do more than 2 sprays of that fragrance, because you might choke them out and now they have a negative association with that fragrance. Because y'all, it's a beautiful scent, it smells good, but the reason Sauvage has a negative association with it is just because a majority of guys that buy it way overspray it. and it pisses everybody else off, and they lack that self-awareness and that common sense to be like, oh wow, everyone here is basically getting choked out, but you're just too busy trying to get people to think you smell good, whereas it's actually doing the opposite and it's making them resent you. You know what I mean? So just be cautious. Less is definitely more with that fragrance. And let's say, you know, you go after your date, you give your date your sweater, right? And they run it in the laundry, and again, it'll, like I told you in the beginning of this video, it'll still smell like Elixir. Like, damn, it is a fragrance that will stay in people's minds because it's still that safe designer scent, right? It's still that Dior that everybody knows, and some people love, some people hate, right? It still has that DNA, but it takes it to a more niche level. It takes it to a more complex, deep level. And I feel like the more that you wear Sauvage and the longer it sits, the Elixir, excuse me, the more you wear it and the more that it sits, the better that it gets. I think the worst of it, if you could even say the worst of it, is during that initial spray, but the longer it just lingers and the more it develops, I honestly find it to be better. Now, unfortunately, I live in a place that is predominantly hot year round. So it's just not a fragrance that I would consistently be able to wear. Even a lot of my sweet scents, y'all know how much I love Carlisle. I don't wear it that often because it's always so hot here. But if I were to make a video about sweet scents that are absolute bangers, right? I think Sauvage Elixir would definitely be there. But here, I would do it the way that I do Oud Satin Mood by MFK, because that fragrance, I know so many people love it, but to me, I just could not get with it. It's a scent that if I were to wear it, I would spray it on the clothes I'm gonna wear the next day or 2 days later. That is how I would approach Sauvage Elixir, so that you know when that dry down is hit, that it becomes more intoxicating, it becomes more addictive. And it kind of sucks that, at least to me, the best part of that fragrance happens so late into it. But I mean, that just shows for the performance. And if you like it, you like it. And for all of you looking for an opinion from how women feel about it, outside of myself, I will tell you that when I did wear it about a year ago, it was not liked. And that was on clothes, and I also sprayed it on guys as well. It was getting negative reactions with that initial spray. Like, I remember when I entered the room, on the opposite side of the room, it was already smelled, and it was just too potent. I think what people didn't like was that it wasn't tame. It was just trying to be too in your face, and it was an obnoxious smell. And again, that is just such a negative stereotype with Sauvage in general, is that it comes across obnoxious because people overspray it, and this is already a nuclear fragrance, right? So people are like, oh yeah, I could smell that. I smell it. And again, this is with my small sample, y'all. And people were already kind of like, oh God, that's too much, right? But trust me, if you have it, or if you're gonna spray it, if you go to the mall right now, spray it on your hoodie or sweater. Just bring a sweater with you. Spray it on your sweater. And then leave that sweater on a chair in your room or in your closet, and then smell it like 4 days later. And you'll be like, okay, yeah, this is nice. That is what I would do. That's exactly what I would do, all right? But yeah, initial response to it with the feminine nose was not the best. But the dry down for it was better. Still, it's still, and I have to be honest with you, it's still a fragrance that, just based on my personal experience from testing it on other people, getting their reactions from how others reacted on them, and even with how it was with me, it was something more loved by the masculine nose than the feminine nose. So if you're somebody that is approaching this fragrance thinking, okay, what is something that women are going to love? And don't lie, there's a lot of you out there, all right? I get all the DMs about it. So no shaming for compliments in the comment section below. There's some weirdos that are like, well, why do you guys get it for compliments, blah, blah, blah. You used to also. So please, enough of that. But anyways, for the feminine nose, it's not, you're probably gonna get more compliments from men than women with that fragrance in particular. Potentially, all right? But again, if you were to ask me, Melissa, I want a Sauvage fragrance, which one should I get? Which one will get more compliments from women? I'm going to say the EDP. I think the EDP has that perfect balance between it. If you want more compliments from dudes, then I would say going with the Elixir, just because they'll be like, oh wow, yeah, that's different. And, you know, they like, a lot of guys, at least that I've interacted with, been around, they like the fragrances that are a bit more complex. Like I went to the mall recently and I was with these guys and they smelled, not Elixir, Eros Flame. They're like, oh yeah, this is nice. It's like spicy, blah, blah, blah. Whereas like the girl didn't really care for it. They're like, okay, yeah. But they liked the original, the girl liked the original Versace Eros versus Eros Flame, right? And the guys were like, what? No, Eros Flame is better. So that's just kind of what I've noticed. When things are more complex, quote unquote, more guys tend to gravitate towards it and really like it, but it's not always the same for the case when you wear it around women. So don't be surprised if you wear Sauvage Elixir right off the bat, spraying it, and it's not met with love. Just give it some time if you want to. Do the tips that I gave you, but again, if you are looking for the women's reactions, go with the EDP over Elixir, all right? Anyways, let me know what you think of Sauvage in the comment section below with the Elixir, with the EDP, which is your favorite flanker. I'll put the discount link for all of that in the comment section below, and y'all save yourself some money. The retail price for this thing, I've seen people try to charge like $180 for it. Please get it at a discount site with free shipping. Just do that. It's so much better than paying full retail, all right? I hope y'all have a great day. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye.